The government doesn't care about you. The banks do not care about you. It's up to you to take control of your financial future, because real freedom is financial freedom. So on this channel, 3 days a week, I do what's called The Dollar is Dead, help people get out of debt, keep an eye on what's happening in the economy, generally speaking. I'm not a financial advisor, informational purposes only. I always have to give that disclaimer. However, the rest of the time, I typically do whiteboard videos, if you're familiar with my channel, to help people get out of debt, and we create calculators to do the same. Today, we're going to talk about the fact that there are layoffs. There have been layoffs all year. You usually don't hear much about them, or they're just a blip, as if they don't matter, and they do. Why? Because each of you individually needs to worry about something like a job layoff. Either you or your partner or someone in the household. A decrease in income can always cause issues depending upon your budgeting. We're going to get to that in a moment. But first, look at these two articles because I think they're substantial. The first here is Intel, who laid off recently 15%, and this might be an ongoing thing, but they announced it, of their workforce, which equates to 17,500 people. Now, to me, Intel's a big deal. Why? Because I would have to guess that the majority of those jobs are good paying jobs. And higher income earners usually take advantage of all sorts of services, whether it's dry cleaning or going out to eat, you name it. So the trickle down effect from those types of higher paying jobs can be quite substantial. And 17,500 people is not an inconsequential number. Now, there are two things going on here. Let's say that Intel really needed to slash those 17,500 because of their income, because of their revenue, I should say, whatever it may be. Now, in some cases, just know that it is sort of a rule of thumb that over time, companies will take on, let's just say, some less desirable employees as they grow really large. And every now and then, it seems to be healthy for a business to just kind of do a cut, to tell all the managers, hey, you have to let go 5 or 10% of the people in your group, because who are they going to let go? Well, they're going to look at everyone and they're going to say, well, these are the less productive people, I'm going to let them go. So there might be an argument that, let's say, people are talking about, as they are, the economy not doing so well. And so that could be a time for some businesses to say, you know what, let's take advantage of this. We don't want to look like the bad guy when times are good, slashing some employees. So let's just slash some employees when times are bad and no one will bat an eye. So it might be that they're just taking advantage of this current environment, economic environment, to let some people go and to try to just get some of that dead weight out of there. On the other hand, they may really have needed to do this. Regardless, that's 17,500 high-paying jobs. Most people in Intel probably thought they would never get laid off unless they did something really wrong. In this case, they just got laid off. If it can happen to them, it can happen to you. Where am I going with this? One more. Look at this. Paramount let go 2,000 people, 15%. That's another 2,000 people. That's just two large companies with people who probably thought their job was good forever. Okay, what if you lose your job? So I've put together videos in the past, and I'm going to walk you through them. And there's 3 that I think can be watched in succession and will help you with emergency savings. The first is, before you create that emergency budget and you say to yourself, well, I'd like to have enough money to last 3 months without a job or 6 months without a job or whatever it may be. That can be fairly daunting. The first thing going through your mind is, okay, so what's my income? Multiply it by 3. Now I know what I need. Well, that could be a big number and hard for some people to save. What if it's 6 times that number if you just want it in cash? Obviously, you don't want emergency savings in things like stocks that you might have to sell, because what if stocks are down? You're forced to sell them when they're down. So typically emergency savings, at least for myself and I know many others, is usually held in cash. Even though every Friday I preach assets instead of cash, that's a different story. When it comes to emergency savings, you might want to look at, or you should look at, your budget first. That way, you'll know exactly what you need to meet your budget. Now, meeting your budget, first and foremost, you want to make sure you don't get behind on things that report to the credit bureau, like credit cards. You don't want to lose your house. You want to pay your mortgage. You want to pay your cars. So you put together that budget. And a lot of people don't like putting together budgets. So the first video here is really simple and straightforward. It allows you to quickly determine what you're spending every month. It won't take a lot of time. You don't have to use special software. You're basically downloading some of your accounts, doing a quick analysis, adding it all up and saying, on average, what have I spent over the last 3 to 6 months? There we go. That's not the best way to do a budget, but if you need to do it quickly, just to get started with your emergency savings and then go back and tweak it. Now, the second video will walk you through an emergency fund, how much it needs to be. Let's take a look at that budget. Let's take a look at what's being spent. Let's determine everything in that list, because you might be able to get rid of some of them. In my opinion, I sleep better at night when I have a plan. So if you were to lose your job, the last thing you want to do is start running around with your head cut off because you don't know what to do. But if you had already looked at your budget and determined this is exactly what I need to pay, then you can get started right away. It'll also show you, hey, let's quickly go through those items and determine what you could turn off immediately. If you've got 5 subscription video services, maybe you kill 3 of them, 4 of them, or all 5 of them, at least until you get another job. Maybe you've got 2 cars and you've got 2 car payments. Maybe one of those cars will immediately be sold. Whatever the case may be, you can get your budget down. You might say, currently spending $5,000 a month, but I can quickly eliminate these things and take it to $4,500 or $4,000 or $3,500 a month. All right, then the next video is one that you can start preparing for. That you should do ahead of time, right? Look at your budget now, determine how low you can get it. So if you need to, you can implement that plan immediately. The other one is a little outside the box, so to speak, with ways in which you can have lower payments and meet your obligations. Let me give you a quick example. A car. So let's say that you've got a 60-month car loan and you've already paid off 36 months or 24 months, whatever it may be. It may not be advantageous at the moment. It depends on car loan rates and that sort of thing. And over time, it's going to cost a little more for the car, but it might give you peace of mind. So what you do is, let's say you've paid off 24 months of a 60-month loan. You can actually go refinance your car. Now, you refinance the vehicle for the amount you owe. Now, if you have credit card debt, I've got other videos on how you can refinance for a little more, but let's just say you refinance for what you owe. So say you had a $30,000 car, you paid it down to $20,000. Now you go refinance that $20,000. So that loan's paid off and you have a new loan. Well, instead of owing for another 36 months, you now owe 60 months again. Bummer. However, the payment would be much lower. So if your payment's now $500 and now you've because that was on 30 grand, and now you've refinanced 20 grand, your payment might be $300. You say, well, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. It's a longer payment, maybe a little higher interest rate. Well, you can keep making a $500 a month payment and it will pay that down faster. I've got videos I will show you and I'll walk through all of them. Make sure you subscribe because on Wednesday, I'm going to talk about all the things you can do with your auto loans. But what that does for you is you're still making that payment. However, you're only obligated to make the $300 payment. Follow me here. So if you were to lose your job, you don't have to make the $500 payment to make sure you keep your car and credit bureaus are happy. You only have to make a $300, so you drop to the $300. You get your job back, you go back to paying $500. I know that might sound a little complicated. Watch the video. It's very simplistic. Thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful. During these times, if you haven't lost your job and things are going fine for you right now, I would suggest you prepare. Determine what that emergency savings needs to be. Start saving for it. Have a plan if you get out. If you're out of work, take a look at your complete financial picture so that you're able to ride through what might be an economic downturn for you or your family. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.